Okay, I'll call a regular city council meeting Monday, January 4th, 2021 to order. Clerk, call the roll.
Alderman Ferrari.
Here.
Waldorf.
Here.
Bekosius.
Here.
Radke.
Here.
Sapienza. Payton.
Here.
Ballard.
Here.
Buffo. Mer Harl.
Here. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have any public comment? No public comment. Then presentation. Do we have a presentation? Would you clear something up for me, Finance Officer Justin Miller? There was an article in the paper tonight, and I received some phone calls about it, and it had nothing to do with us, so I just want to make sure we clear that up.
Yeah, the City of Peru's economic support grant, that was not in the paper today. That article in the paper, I believe, is referencing the second round of the business interruption grant that's directly through the state. So although City of Peru businesses did receive that, and that's great for them, that was not a part of the grant that we are currently working through. So that article was referencing the state's grant. So
Okay.
I think that helps.
I don't know, did anybody hear anything about that? But, you know, the phone started ringing soon it was in the paper, and, you know, it's good to see that people are paying attention to those articles, but that didn't have anything to do with us. That came directly from state back in, what was that, March, April, May, somewhere around there.
Yeah, they've done a couple different installments, but yeah, it's part of that pure farming money.
Right. Okay, do we have a motion to receive the minutes, financial, and activity reports and place on file?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. I don't have to do these papers here, it's right in front of me. Finance Safety Services, Chairman Radke.
Yes, Your Honor. I have the disbursements to be paid January 6, 2021, in the amount of $3,224,050.76. I make a motion these be placed on file and the bills be paid in the usual manner.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second.
Who were the motions and the second on that, Your Honor?
Motion was Alderman Buffalo, second was Alderman Payton.
We should be able to initiate the vote here, if you would like, Your Honor.
Well, let's give it a try. Get used to it.
Okay, you can commence the voting.
We're missing one here, the way I'm seeing it.
Correct.
7 have voted, 1 has not.
Okay.
Okay, the motion approved.
Hang on, I gotta get back. All right, next, I move that we finalize the Shop Peru and Win program, that we authorize the city finance officer to execute that. The amount will not exceed $28,000.
Second. Have a motion and a second to finalize the Shop Peru and Win program and the amount not to exceed $28,000. Is there any discussion on that?
The rules are as presented and as published. The amounts are as presented, as published previously.
I'm not seeing that on there. We've got it, but I don't have the voting module for this one. I apologize. So we'll just do the old traditional roll call vote.
Okay, is there any other questions on this?
But to answer Chairman Radke's question, yes, that's true. It's as published, as advertised in the initial link. So.
Okay, and then the next one, Thursday at noon, and they'll be that way every week.
Yeah, so the final day for this week's drawing would be to get your invoice or receipts in by Wednesday for the drawing on Thursday, and that'll go that throughout the remainder of 2021.
And how are we publicizing the winners each time?
Well, on New Year's Eve, we did a Facebook Live drawing, just so everything was on a video and anybody could watch from the city's Facebook page. So I think that worked pretty well, and I think we would continue to go that route unless anybody had another way they would like to see it done.
Is the paper working with us on this, or?
We can certainly get them the names as they come across. It's kind of it came together very, very quickly, so there's probably certain things that we could tidy up on as far as the communication goes for that going forward.
Yeah, there would be at this particular holiday weekend, we did the drawing at noon. So during the afternoon hours of the 31st, we notified the winners. And then today was our next day of business, so we did not get the information out there. But we did have great success with the Facebook Live feed. And
I'd say we had probably about 200 plus applicants turn in for the drawing participants, so it was a good start. Hopefully we can continue to see, large numbers like that. This was a 3-week
How many winners
drawing.
how many winners have we chosen so far?
So the first window was a 3-week window from the start of the program, which is December 8th until December 30th, and then during that drawing period, we pulled on the 31st 3 winners. So that's the first 3 winners of the program. From here on and going forward, it will be 1 winner a week. And then at the end of it, there'll be anybody that turns in throughout the whole process is in the final drawing winner, which will be next year, next New Year's Eve. So
Do you have the names memorized or in front of you? So
I can give you the names. In the order that they were drawn, we picked Richard and Sherry Glenn, and I believe they're from McNabb, Illinois. And these were $500 gift cards. Second winner was Julie Eister. And the third winner was Nancy Robleski from Peru.
Okay.
So we had, those are our first, they've all been contacted, and one asked that we mail there because they don't want to travel because of COVID. But the other 2 will be picking up their cards tomorrow.
Okay, anybody else? All right, we'll have a roll call. Call the roll.
Alderman Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Sapienza. Peyton.
Aye.
Ballard.
Aye.
Buffo.
Aye.
Motion approved.
Okay, next thing on the agenda is to discuss a donation to the 2021 TBM Avenger Reunion Salute to Veterans Program, which will be May 14th and 15th this year. I think we've already made that discussion. Do we need to put a motion on the agenda for next week or next meeting to approve that donation, or where do we need to go from here?
I was under the impression that this was going to be voted on tonight.
Yeah, you can take action on that. We have it on the agenda. If you wish to make it a motion, make it a motion.
Okay, it says discuss. I will move that we authorize the donation this year as in years past.
I think the reason that we brought it forward as a discussion point for the meeting is because there was a discussion as to whether or not the council would confirm their previous financial commitment. So rather than be presumptuous that the council was going to follow up on those previous discussions, which were informal, we didn't put in a dollar amount. So in order to be proper, I think we should attach the dollar amount to it and move it to a future or next meeting for that, since that was the logic behind it.
Yeah, or we at least need to say, some motion that says the city will support the attendance fees and the fuel cost.
Yeah.
Those are gonna be variable because depending on the plane and the individual, those are different, but I think we need something that says that's what we're gonna support.
And that'll tie to what Finance Director Justin Miller said, that he would disperse those funds at the end of January. So our next meeting's on the 18th, and the dispersal date would be, the 20th for that, if everybody's okay with that.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I think we wanna support it. To me, it's the largest event in the area, and it's in Peru. We need to support it.
I agree.
Okay, so do you have the correct terminology that you're going to have on the agenda in 2 weeks?
Yes, Your Honor, I have the request from Carrie Miller, their representation.
Okay, anything further from finance?
I don't have anything further from finance.
Okay, we'll move on to public services. Chairman Waldorf?
Yes, Your Honor. Alderman Ballard, would you help us, please?
Sure. Honor, I'd like to make a motion to award the Midtown Road Extension Project to the lowest responsible bidder, Advanced Asphalt Company, in the amount of $1,848,414.90.
Second. Eric, could you elaborate?
Yes, this is our Midtown Road Extension project, as everybody knows. We had 6 plan holders for this project, 2 of which we received bids from. We had an engineer's estimate on the project just north of 2.1 million, so the low bid came in below our estimate, so it's a good number. Included in the project is the widening of Plank Road from where we left off at Schuyler with the North Peoria project to just north of the new Midtown intersection at Plank. That'll allow us to accommodate some turn lanes onto the new Midtown intersection. It also create the western leg of the Midtown intersection at Peoria Street, as well as the intersection at 26th Street, and then the surfacing and curb and gutter storm sewer of 26th Point Boulevard, which is the new interior street located on the west side of the police station site, and then, of course, the extension of Midtown between Plank and Peoria.
Sure seems like a lot of good work for a very fair price, too.
Yes, absolutely.
What was the next bid? I know-
The next bid was just shy of 2.7.
Yeah, that was a good bid, and it's the same contractor that did the work, and they did a fine job up there this past summer, so.
How is this being funded? This is funded from motor fuel tax or from the infrastructure tax?
It's a combination of infrastructure and general fund for this project. Motor fuel tax is encompassed within our North Peoria project.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll do a roll call. Is this be on the electronic?
Fortunately, this
okay.
one, but we're going to try it again on the next one. Just to
okay, do
be
a
in
roll
better
call.
practice. Alderman Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Makosas.
Aye.
Radke. Aye. Sapienza. Payton.
Aye.
Ballard.
Aye.
Buffo.
Motion approved.
Your Honor, I need to make a motion to authorize the city engineer to seek bids for the IEPA mandated sewer separation project, Area 1, Phase 6.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to advertise for bids for the IEPA mandated sewer separation project, Area 1, Phase 6.
Where's this located
Yeah,
at?
I can provide her. This is the last phase of Area 1 before we start on Area 5, which is on the east side of town, east of 51. Area 1, Phase 6, it takes into West Street from where we left off just north of the hospital at 5th. So we reconstruct West Street, separate the sewers from 5th to 10th on West, and then between the streets of West and Grant, we separate on 6th Street, 7th Street, 8th Street, and 9th Street. So it's a pretty large footprint. It is confined between West and Grant Street. And as always, with our sewer separation projects, we're also addressing, aged sidewalks, surfaces, water mains, things of that nature, so.
Eric, can we send a letter to the residents, letting them know
Yeah,
that this is gonna happen?
we do. So prior to construction, we send a letter out to everybody that's within the project limits, basically introducing our department, who the contact for the project will be, so our construction observer, as well as my contact information. We give them a notice that typically comes from IEPA in regards to the water main construction. IEPA mandates that we provide an educational piece on lead contamination, just for residents that they're aware if they have any lead service lines to let us know. And in addition to that, we give a little synopsis of the project so that they're aware of what's happening.
So I don't want to throw something at you, Eric or Mike. What's the number, and if you don't have it at the tip of your tongue right now, that's fine, but what's the number that we've invested in our sewer separation since 2010? And why I'm saying that is, when I first started here, and we'd have a hard rain, and the phones would just light up with flooded basements, and we virtually have 0 calls for flooded basements because of the investment that we've made. We're in the neighborhood, what, $32 million?
I know, I've been at Peru almost 7 years now in May. And in the 7 years that I've been here, I think that we're somewhere around 14 to 15 million in sewer separation projects.
Yeah, and we did, Area 4 and 6 was a $6 million project. It was a couple of years prior.
Yeah,
to
we're
you starting,
typically
so-
somewhere around 1.5 to 2 million a year. Most times on the higher end, a little closer to 2 million on the IEPA projects. And, that can be attributed to, we're trying to address all of these other issues that we also have, such as the aged water mains. So we've taken a different approach, Mike and I, about 6 years ago. We amended our long-term control plan for IEPA, and that amendment was because of the approach that we were taking to the construction projects. And so far, I know from my office, been extremely happy with what we've had in the form of reconstructions within those footprints. I know it's painful for the season for the residents and the businesses, but certainly when we finish, our plan is not to come back.
How many more years do we have ahead of us? To finish up the town?
There's probably at least a dozen. We'll be working on the east. We're going to be working on the east side of town. Hopefully this year, we'll have our first sewer separation on the east side of town. The second phase of the 7th Street water main project also encompasses a footprint of sewer separation, so that's going to be a dual project. We'll have the water main replacement and the sewer separation. That's Area 5, Phase 1. It's a little bit smaller of a footprint, I'd say, on the east side of town than what we've been dealing with here on the west side of 251. Now, we will have to come back to the west side of 251 for some small areas, such as there's an area here on Fulton and 5th around City Hall, and we have a small area south of town between areas 4 and 6 and area 3 that we have to finish a little bit of work there. So we will be back over this way eventually, but our focus is going to shift to the east side of town, east of 251, starting this season.
Eric, I know in the 3rd Ward, we've had a lot of construction with that. But also, after that's done, I know it's very inconvenient for the people that live there. But after it's done, not only is what's underground replaced, take a look at the nice roads, the nice curbs, the nice sidewalks. And sidewalks, I know in the 3rd Ward, there's a lot of sidewalks over 100 years old. And a lot of those were replaced, and it looks terrific. You gave me a number of something like 88,000 feet of sidewalk, I believe, earlier in the year. I've got it written down.
Yeah,
Just an unbelievable amount of sidewalks and curbs that have been replaced. So it's not just what's underground, it's the surface as well.
We've been doing quite a bit.
Check, check. We back?
Hey, just because I'm hot. Yeah.
I think we got it, or no?
We're back.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that.
So to answer the question, yes, annually we're replacing miles of sidewalk. I realize that it's not always in areas that people are concerned with, but we certainly are addressing them as we go. We're making our best effort with these projects. 7 years ago when I came on, we took a little bit of a different approach to some of the capital projects and, how we mesh them together for, more bang for our buck, if you will. And I think that it's been really successful from the general fund street program to the IEPA sewer separation programs. We've been able to take care of, quite a bit of work in the footprint that we have delegated for that season. So like we said earlier, our goal is not to come back. Do we replace every panel of sidewalk and every lineal foot of curb? No, we don't, but we address, what's the worst issue, and then, of course, we are completely resurfacing the roadways.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, we'll have a roll call the roll.
I'm going to try the vote again, Your Honor. Okay, guys.
Okay, it's not Georgia, it only lets me vote once.
We're missing one. We're still missing, there we go, everybody's in.
Oh, okay, motion approved. Anything else, public services?
Chief, do you have anything? No, sir. Chief King, are you there?
Nothing.
Yes, I have nothing.
That's all, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay, we have nothing from city attorney. Is Attorney Swigert still on?
He
That's
is.
correct, I believe, that nothing's changed, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Proclamations, none. Unfinished business, anyone? New business, anyone?
I've got one thing, Mayor. Can you hear me?
Yes, Adam.
Okay. I want to give a quick update on the ice rink. It was open December 26th, a Saturday, and we had great attendance, especially during the evening hours. We probably had upwards of 30, 40 people there, starting about 5 o'clock when the sun was going down. Lots of hockey players and lots of free skaters, and it's large enough to house both hockey and free skate. Early last week, we had to close it down after the snow because we had a individual go on the ice thinking it was frozen and break through the ice with a shovel. So it's been closed until tomorrow morning, or we anticipate tomorrow morning having it open back up. I also want to add that I've had 3 youth teams, 2 from the Chicago suburb area and 1 from Bloomington, contact me wanting to rent the ice out for practices and games. So I've been in contact with them, trying to work something out. If we can possibly get cold enough weather, which looks like we're going to get, we can possibly house some scrimmage games or ice hockey practices. But other than that, I just want to give an update and fill everybody in on the status of that.
I'll add a little bit to what Adam just said. I've asked Adam and Chief King to look into we'll call it a shed, an attendance house, whatever, because the person who went on the ice, they took the shovel and went down through the middle of the ice and shoveled some of the slush and made a complete mess of the place. And we had to have our crews go out, fix it, add more water. But, we were hoping everything would be on your honor and everything would be done properly, but if we can't let this happen. So we're pricing out a shed to put there. We're asking our electrical department, what's it gonna cost to heat the shed and, have power at it. And we may need to put someone there and have open and closed hours. Also, as far as the snow on it, I'm talking with a potential donor that is interested in donating a fairly good sum of money to put a roof over the top of the place, open sides roof over the top of the place. So that's the next step that we always had planned anyway, was to put in the ice rink, see what happens, then put a roof over the top, and then someday it'll be closed in. So, but do it, one step at a time, what you can afford. And we, once again, the phone calls that came into Adam with the people that are interested, that's what we were expecting. So you'll end up with chillers before you know it too. But you have to, you have to walk into it and then make sure that you're ready to move to the next step. So, but I am talking with donors at this time. So,
I really think that's great. I think that this is something that not anybody else has. You know, and that's where I think we've talked in the past about wanting to put our money in recreation into those things that other communities don't have, so that we're not duplicating efforts. You know, and so now you have something that people want to come and use.
Right, this isn't an ice rink, it's a regulation hockey site, so the interest will come. You know, the other cities that I talk to in the suburbs that do have them, it's amazing. It's amazing the turnout that they receive with the people, so.
If we,
On that note, Adam, you've done a real good job with this project.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Mayor and Adam, if we end up getting a hut there and placing someone there, I think we should at least investigate into how much it would cost to buy some skates that would be rentable. I know that's been some feedback that I have received on what would make that a better rink, is if you had some skates that were rentable at different times.
Well, I totally agree with that. You know, it's been discussed. Like I said, you can't open it up on day one and have all the amenities, you know, right from the start. We weren't planning on doing it that way.
If we have an employee there, though, for open and close hours, I think that would be a logical next step.
I completely agree with it. You know, we'll price out, you know, what's it gonna cost you to put X amount of skates on the shelf with X amount of sizes and whatnot. But it'll be an ongoing project that'll build and build, so.
I do have an estimate for skate rentals. Obviously, it might be a little too late this year, but in the next coming years, I do have an estimate from a company on skate rentals. So that's definitely in the near future, hopefully.
Excellent, thank you.
Along with that, I hope when we're looking at this building, that we're looking at a building that's big enough, not just a shed. I've had a conversation with Jeff King last summer on a shed that's close to there, and the shed was an addition, but not a shed, a building that can be transformed into an area to rent skates, to maybe have hot chocolate down the road, a lot of things, not just a move-in shed. I'd really like to see it done the right way with the building there, not a shed.
Alderman Sapienza, when we did the initial plans for the splash pad, we had a phasing diagram where we showed the potential areas for the rink, which we ended up placing as part of a change order for the base of the rink. We had a footprint for potential if we had a future pool, as well as the potential for another shelter combination shed/bathroom. So that is in a phasing diagram somewhere. There are utilities that are available for those. It's just a matter of when funding's available to take the next step. So I think, sounds like today I think the discussion is more of a temporary measure. But yes, for long term, we do have a plan for a building there.
Okay, just don't want to see us wasting our money on a shed that's only going to be used for one season, a couple $1,000, and then down the road we just.
Well, I don't know of anybody that doesn't need storage room. So if we bring in a smaller building to suffice for now, it'll never go to waste. But what you're saying though, absolutely, it's been talked about. Can I have a show of hands? Is there anybody who has enough storage in their house or their garage? Okay, see, we can always use more storage space anywhere and everywhere.
I was thinking of bringing some of my stuff to your house. You have room, don't you?
It's full. Believe me, it's full. Okay, anybody else with new business? Petitions, communications.
Just one, Your Honor. We have a communication from Robert Angelini seeking variances for the property located at 2601 2nd Street.
Okay, let's see, they're seeking variance. All right, do we have a motion to receive, place on file, and turn it over to planning and zoning? For
So
their
moved, Your
review?
Honor.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to receive, place on file, and turn it over to planning and zoning. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Anybody else? Any other?
No, Your Honor.
Communications? Okay, do we have a public comment from anybody? Looks like we have a few people on. Is there any public comment?
Oh, okay. We did have one question from Sherry Mazak. Why are aldermen using electronic voting when we can't hear them? So that's an excellent question, because we're testing the system and trying to get it fine-tuned here. And right now, the balance between the Zoom screen and the voting and agenda screen will be our challenge. So it's something we need to work through, because here in the council chambers, when the council votes, the screen in front of the voters changes, and then they execute their vote, and then the chair and myself see the voting of the aldermen. And the votes today that were electronic were 8-0, but the point is well made that where we use the electronic voting, it's more difficult for residents tuning in by Zoom. So we'll work on that for the next meeting.
Right, and once again, all the votes that were taken tonight were 8-0. So if there is a little glitch in the system that's brand new and we're still working on, that'll be fixed. And if the vote is split, we'll make sure that we do an out loud roll call.
A follow-up question on that was, what happens to the new pickleball courts and basketball? Is this a permanent structure, especially after a top is installed? I mean, as of right now, the pickleball and basketball structures exist, and there's a liner that covers them up for the striping that was done. So for this coming spring, the liner will be removed, and the use of that facility will be for the pickleball and basketball. Is that correct, Adam? Am I on track with that?
Dave, I can add to that.
Yes.
So, one of the things that was beneficial for us, and Mike Perry is here as well, we went down and presented before the DNR on the OSLAD grant, was the multi-purpose surfaces. So we had basketball, pickleball, bags, and then, of course, the hockey, whether it's roller hockey or ice hockey or skating. So the multi-purpose gained us extra points. So the intent is that it's seasonal, obviously. So when the season changes, it'll be back to basketball and pickleball, but those markings are covered by a protective plastic, if you will.
And that would still work with the roof that we're talking about getting put on? You
Yeah.
still have basketball, make it tall enough so
Yeah,
that...
I mean, in the early planning, we had looked long-term, with the hockey rink, a chiller system, potentially some kind of canopy, but the canopy would be substantial enough that it wouldn't affect any of the basketball courts.
Very good.
The
Thank you.
boards were gonna stay up though, right, Eric?
That's correct.
The boards are?
Yes.
The boards are permanent, yes. They can be taken down, but you can play roller hockey on that concrete also, so they will stay up.
We have plenty of parks in the system, and if we have to expand our pickleball somewhere else, along with what we already have, that's what we'll have to do. Anybody else? Public comment?
I don't see anyone waving or commenting by chat at this point, Your Honor.
Okay, anybody for closed session? Anybody for adjournment?
Aye. Second.
Have a motion and a second for adjournment. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting